from where the movie started. Facing at a photo they've taken. Space tree flying through the skies and battles happen everywhere. I don't need any hero to save me. I don't know why the kids always crying. I've been thinking about how the captain's ball we left in a wasted planet. Can you feel the spark in the city light when it's day to night? That's the sparkles from my beating heart when it breaks so hard.
Welcome to Pages TV. I have a very interesting guest today. You know, life has chapters, and in those chapters are pages. So I'm going to go through the pages and chapters of Chief Femi Adesina life. Welcome to Pages TV, Chief. Adesina. You know, it's so difficult having to interview somebody who is in the media as well. I don't know what kind of questions I'm going to ask you, but I'm going to try anyhow.
Please do.
So yeah, welcome to Pages TV.
Thank you.
Now, the first chapter of your life, can we go into your childhood? For people who are watching you globally now,
Okay.
they know you are the essay to the president. You had you making, you are the spokesperson of the nation. Actually, you are the mouthpiece of the nation, Nigeria, at the time of recording this interview. So now, people are watching. They may not really know how you started, whether you're a politician. So let us just start your childhood.
Okay.
Chapter 1 of your life.
Yeah, chapter 1. Well, I was born to two teachers.
Teachers?
Yes.
Is that what made you a writer yourself?
Maybe because I grew up amidst books. Yes.
So,
Two teachers. My father was a school principal. My mother was a classroom teacher. So when my father was principal at St. Charles Grammar School, Oshogbo, in the early 60s, that was...
Oshogbo, that's Western Nigeria?
Yes, Oshogbo is today the capital of Osun State.
Osun State.
Yes, it used to be part of Western Nigeria, later it became part of Oyo State, later it became capital of Osun State. So that was where I was born in the early 60s, and that was where I started schooling. Nursery school, St. Clair's Primary School. When my father was then transferred to another secondary school in Ekiti, they used to be part of Western State.
Okay, there were no states.
There were no states. It was just Western. So they transferred him to Notre Dame College.
Notre Dame.
Yes, in Ushi, Ekiti. You will notice that they are Catholic schools.
You're not Catholic anyway.
Yes, we were Catholics. We were both. In fact,
I
potted.
I'm going to convert you back to Catholicism.
I potted. My father actually was the first African principal of St. Charles Grammar School. That school used to be led by foreign missionaries, Catholic missionaries, and from Ireland, UK, and all that. He was the first African principal of St. Charles Grammar School. From there, they moved him to Notre Dame College, Ushekiti, and that was where he retired and went back to his hometown called Ikpetumodu. Ikpetumodu is in Ife North local government area of Osun State now. So he retired and we, the children, also retired with him and continued our schooling there. So we finished primary school in my hometown, Ikpetumodu, did secondary school there, and then also went to the nearest university, which was the then University of Ife.
So the Great Ife.
Great Ife. Great citadel of learning. That was where I attended. Oh, that's the early part.
So what did you study in Ife?
I studied English. In secondary school, my teachers had always told me, I didn't know what they saw. You either become a journalist or a lawyer. Not one, not two of them, not three of them
Maybe
said
because
it.
you are such a good writer, you articulate before you speak.
Maybe.
So maybe. Key things as guardian counselors, you must have noticed it.
Maybe. So they kept saying it, you become a journalist or a lawyer. So eventually, Ife was the nearest university to my hometown. My parents didn't want us to go too far to schools like UNN and
Well, they
Unilag.
needed to put that Catholic discipline to make sure that you're not going to like join the bad boys.
Bad boys. So I went to Ife, read English, but I knew at the back of my mind that I wanted to be a journalist. So
Was it any particular thing that you saw that made you decide to be a journalist?
yeah, because my father was an avid newspaper reader, and we were the ones who went to buy the
pages.
newspaper. Yeah, so
He reads it, he drops it, then
so we grew up reading newspapers. Then we grew up reading books, and so the.
So that's why you're such a wonderful writer.
Thank you.
You wrote a piece about your former boss, and I was laughing so much.
My God,
I laughed so much. I was calling you to say, look, I'm sure Shakespeare wouldn't have written anything like that. So now, growing up, were you a mischievous child?
Every boy was.
Can you tell me? I know you are the essay to the president.
Yes.
You wrote a piece, so you didn't want somebody's wife to read it. Just whisper. How bad were you as a child?
Not very bad. Not very bad. But mischievous enough. I grew up in a family of 5 boys and 2 girls.
Mischievous in terms of like you're handsome guy.
Oh, really? Thank you. Thank you.
Mischievous, like girls like you a lot. Obviously, they must have loved this handsome young guy.
Well. Every young man would do a bit of that. But I don't think I danced too far. I don't think I danced too far.
So now you went to Ife and then you graduated. What happened after that?
Yes, immediately I graduated, I started journalism.
Okay.
I left school '86, went straight to serve at the Lagos Television.
Okay. LTV?
Yes, LTV. From Lagos Television, I went to work in Radio Lagos. From Radio Lagos, I went to work in Vanguard. From Vanguard, I went to Concord. Concord, I did some stint at the editorial board of the Tribune. And then in 2002, I was the founding editor of the Sun newspapers. Yes, I was there for a long time. I was editor, I was executive director of publications, I was deputy managing director, I became managing director.
And here we find you to be the mouthpiece of Nigeria.
Yes, it was from the Sun that I was appointed to.
Very interesting chapter of your life. I've had a lot of opportunity to interact with you, and what I observe about you, despite the fact that you're in this position, something very interesting. Each time I send a text, you always reply. You're very quick at replying. Is it that you're not busy enough that you reply so much?
In fact, it's the contrary.
I want the world to know that that's what I observe. For me, I was talking to my cameraman, leadership. Leadership is not, there are little things that make someone a potential good leader. And for me, when I communicate with you and I see these little things, I have to talk about it. So there are some people in government, even less busier than you are. You send them a text or you call, they don't reply till after like 2-3 weeks.
Why?
They are big men.
Why I have trained myself to respond immediately to my text messages is that if I don't do it, there is the tendency for a glut to come. For instance, if the president has a very busy day and I am at his side of the villa and I leave my phone in the office here and I can't respond to all my texts, by the time I come back, I have 60, 80, 100.
And those are texts you must reply.
And those are texts I must reply. So what I do is, as a matter of policy, before I go to bed, I reply all my text messages. That's if I'm busy. Now, when I have my phone with me, immediately I hear the popping sound of the text message, I respond immediately. Because if I don't respond, there's a tendency that it will get out of my hands. If I am busy a whole day and I don't reply my text messages, it will have crossed the 100 mark. By the second day, you have 200. So where do you begin to respond from?
It must be very difficult because you have
yes.
Now, you've been a journalist, both print and electronic media, with this wealth of experience. When you started as a young journalist, what was your vision? How far did you think you would have come?
Thank you. I just wanted to enjoy myself. In fact, I have a friend and colleague, Gary Kosage. We used to joke that in journalism, they just pay us for enjoying ourselves. Yes. That's what we tell ourselves, that they're just paying us for enjoying ourselves. We just loved to write and we enjoyed writing. So I was in journalism and I just wanted to enjoy the profession, and I was doing that. But when I worked as a reporter under Michael Wimf, I kept telling us, you guys must aspire to get to the top of this profession. You must become editors. That there is no harm in wanting to become editors. And Wimf kept telling us that. For me, happy-go-lucky, and I just say, editor, how will I ever become an editor? I just wanted to be a reporter and enjoy myself. And that was what I was doing. But gradually, I saw myself climbing the ladder. The first thing was, after having been a reporter, field reporter for a number of years, they made me features editor at Concord. I was in Weekend Concord. They moved me to Daily as the features editor. That was where I began to see that, this thing is not just about field reporting. You now need to sit down and begin to also the real work. So I was features editor, I became deputy editor, and eventually I became editor. I was editor at Concord, and then I was founding editor at the Sun, and eventually I became editor-in-chief. You know, curiously, every position Mike Awoyinfawu was like my mentor held, I also held.
Okay.
He was features editor at the Concord when I met him. 7 years later, I was features editor at the Concord. He was editor of Weekend Concord. I became editor of National Concord, times apart. Later, I became founding editor of The Sun. He was MD, editor-in-chief of The Sun. Later, about 10 years later, I was MD, editor-in-chief of The Sun.
But the only thing he never became is the essay to the president. Position you at the time of this interview, the essay to the president, media and publicity.
Yes.
You know, we come from the part of the world where people have malaria. Yeah, so in your malaria dream, you know, where you're dreaming you're flying and things like that, did you ever dream you would get to this stage?
No. In fact, I wouldn't have wanted it. If I had a dream and I saw it, I would have said no.
So now how did you get this position? Because people are, I read a lot of comments, both some of us, your fan club, and those people that are probably a bit confused because they don't know you have not met you, whatever. So now, how did you get this job?
You know that I had always loved Muhammadu Buhari. I had always loved him. I don't know how it happened.
From when he was
military.
From why?
From
the why?
There was something in him that maybe my father, it reminded me of my father was a very stern man.
Yes.
Disciplinarian, school principal. He didn't make a difference between the school and the home. He just knocked everybody whipped us into line. So when Buhari came, I just loved him. I just loved what he was trying to do. Yes, 83 up to August 85. I just loved what he was trying to do with Nigeria. So I admired him. I was in year 3 when he came, in 83. So he was overthrown in 85, just as I was graduating. Then I went into journalism. I started writing. I was writing a weekly column. Then in 2002, he joined partisan politics with the intention of running for president in 2003. So I started writing to support him, telling Nigerians this man will make a difference in our country. He wanted to do it as a military leader. They didn't allow him finish. This is an opportunity for him to turn Nigeria right. So I started writing to support him. 2003, Iran didn't make it. 2007, Iran, he didn't make it. 2011, he didn't make it. Till he made it in 2015. But somewhere along the line, I think it was the build-up to the 2007 elections. I wrote something about him. And because our phone number will usually be there at the back page of the Sun, my phone just rang. And he said, this is Muhammadu Buhari. I couldn't believe it.
Actually reading.
He was reading. He was reading. He said, "This is
Because you were
Muhammadu."
writing bias write-ups about
Yes.
somebody you maybe believe.
Yes, yes. He introduced himself, we talked and we laughed, and that was how we kept in touch.
That's 2007.
Yes, 2007. Sometime in 2010, before the 2011 polls, Professor Tam David West, God rest his soul, wrote a book about Muhammadu Buhari.
He served under Buhari.
He served under Buhari as oil minister, yes. So he now wrote a book about him, which was to be launched before the 2011 election. And Professor David West invited me to be MC at that book launch at the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs.
That's Victoria.
Victoria Island, Lagos.
Professor Tam David West invites you. I mean, there are a lot of people that would have done MC. Anyway.
Yes, me and Professor David West had been quite close. Okay. Quite close. And we shared
vision about this leader.
Yes, exactly. We shared the same passion for Buhari. So he asked me to come and be MC. And when the then Major General Buhari arrived, and he said, "Oh, Femi Adesina, at last we met." We met. So we exchanged greetings. It was a very successful event, and it went very well. That was my first one-to-one contact with him.
Did you think he was going to make it in the polls?
I didn't care. In fact, a lot of people say, I believed in Buhari when he didn't have like the foggiest chance to be president. But I believed in him and I stood by him.
So would I call you a loyalist?
Oh, that's what that is what I am.
If I say Olufemi loyalist.
I call myself a Buharist. I call myself a Buharist. So that book launch, we met for the first time. And then in 2013, my mom unfortunately died. I was inviting people to the commendation service we were planning. And I got a card for Muhammadu Buhari. I sent it to my reporter in Abuja here from Lagos. I said, no, to the reporter in Kaduna. I said, please, can you drop this in General Buhari's house? And he did so. On the day of the commendation service, I was at the gate of the hall we used in Alausa, welcoming people, when an SUV drove in straight into the compound. So I followed the vehicle to welcome whoever was in it. And he opened the door.
He came. Oh.
What about the
When you sent the invitation, do you think he would have?
I didn't know. I just sent it just to let him know that my mom passed on. You know that.
I think he attends events because there's a particular person in Port Harcourt.
Yeah.
When he wasn't the president.
Yes.
But she was also in the party.
Yes.
She was getting married.
Yeah.
He actually flew and he attended.
That's the man for you.
He's a loyal friend. He's a loyalist himself.
He's a loyalist himself. Loyalty is dual.
Yeah, he's loyal to his friends.
Yeah, he's loyal to his friends.
So he stays true to his people.
You know, for him, somebody they used to call a religious bigot, to have come to attend a Christian service, and he sat through it.
Yes.
But no, it was very significant to me. It was very significant. He came, sat through the service. At the end, he left. He was flying back to Abuja immediately that day. I remember that the next day when I called him to say, thank you for coming, sir. I said, no, that's the very least I could have done for you. You have supported me all these years.
And that was before he even became a president.
Before he became a president. In fact, he hadn't even said he was running in 2015. That was August 2013. He came. And later, towards 2015, remember that he had vowed that he wouldn't run again in 2011. We began to call on him to run. I remember writing an article saying he was not bound by that promise he made in 2011 that he could run if he wanted. Fortunately, he decided to run.
So,
and then he
many
won.
people are watching you right now, globally. What is it like working with President Mohammadu Buhari?
Yes, I tell people.
For someone, you've known him before he became a president.
Yes,
You
yes.
worked with him as a president.
Yes. But what I'd like to say first is that You don't come to this kind of assignment unless you believe in your principle passionately. If you don't believe in the man you have come to work for, it's just a job.
Because posterity will judge you.
Or it will just be a job. And this for me is not a job. As at the time I came to this assignment, as I like to call it, I didn't need a job. I was MD of The Sun. The Sun was about the best paying newspaper in the industry then. It was doing very well. Not only that, I was president of Nigerian Guild of Editors. I was at the very peak of my career. So I didn't need to come to work in government. And I wouldn't have worked in government if it was not Muhammadu Buhari. So I came to serve the person of Muhammadu Buhari, and not just because I wanted a government job. So it is that passion for the man, Muhammadu Buhari, that has sustained me. As we do this interview now, it is 7 years, 2 months that I've been on this assignment. And I've not regretted it for one day that I came to do it. There must have been highs and lows, naturally, in every endeavor in life. But did I ever sit back to say, why did I take this assignment? No. I do it every day, passionately, knowing that I'm serving a man I admire.
So now the Buhari that Nigerians
yes. Now the Buhari that Nigerians don't know, you know that there are stereotypes people have formed about Buhari. He's a religious bigot, he's an unbending man, he's an unyielding man. Some people even say he's what do they call this one? Somebody that panders to his own ethnic group. So they say everything about him is northern. There is a northernization agenda. There is a fulanization agenda. They don't know the man. They don't know him. The Buhari I know is very strict, very disciplined, but there is a soft side to him. When this man cracks jokes, when he laughs, you won't believe that he's the same person. You know that during the military rule, he and Babatunde Diagbon paired. They called them the unsmiling duo. They were very strict. That time called for that strictness because Nigeria was in tatters. Yes, Nigeria was in tatters. And now he still has that discipline strict, but if you get to know him and he becomes comfortable with you, you will sit like this and both of you will be laughing.
So you know what is the best joke that has made you laugh?
Many.
When you talk about Nigeria, you talk about, social issues. What do you really discuss, outside work?
I will recommend a piece I did maybe 2016 or 2017 to you. It's called Muhammadu Buhari, Beyond the Iron and Steel. Beyond if you Google it, you will see it. Beyond the Iron and Steel. It just showed the soft and the humorous, the human part of the president. Full of wisecracks. If I see him talking with somebody and I see that person laugh, I say, President has come again. He's already cracking a joke. But Nigerians don't know that about him.
Bring the camera in to catch him
do you know that there is a documentary in the works on the president? It's going to show all that. It's going to show all that.
Nigerians want to know Buhari outside.
Oh, yes.
Buhari, not out of president aspect office. I want to know Buhari outside.
Do you know that we have a documentary, a 1-hour documentary that we showed a couple of years back, Buhari, the human side of the president. Okay. Oh, it's a 1-hour documentary. If you, yes, please check it out. Maybe if you Google it, you will get it. Such a wonderful human side.
I see him, with people, he's always laughing.
Yes.
You don't give what you don't have.
Yeah.
That's it. So what are the challenges of this job? You've been head of various organizations in the lifespan of your career. So now the chapters of your life now as the essay to the president, they must have some challenges of being the essay to the president.
The most challenging part is that you cannot afford to even switch off your phone. You cannot even afford to put it on silent and go to sleep.
I called you 1 a.m. one day. I solve a problem
Yes, that's what, round the clock. Because when it's 1 a.m. here, it is 6 p.m. in some other part of the world. It is 5 p.m. in some other part of the world. So I'm aware that people will always want to reach me round the clock from different parts of the world. So I keep my phones open. I remember that in the first year, it took a while for the president to assemble his cabinet. In fact, he didn't do it till, I think, October or November. He had come into office on May 29. I remember that I would get calls from different parts of the world. When is the president going to name ministers? When is he assembling his cabinet? At times I would say, oh, do you realize that it's 2 a.m. in Nigeria? They will say, sorry, Mr. Adesina, but you have to find out. For them, it's 4 p.m., 5 p.m. So round the clock, you have to be ready to take inquiries like that from the media, and it's challenging. It's challenging.
Now, it's past no doubt, but in hindsight, why did the president not announce members of his cabinet when he came into government?
Yes, it's been announced a number of times. One reason was there was no proper handover from the government that left. It was like an unfriendly takeover. Yes. So all the cooperation that should have come, all the things that they were not there. So he needed to get to understand so many things and needed to set many things in order. They say when you land, you start running immediately. That's if you land on solid ground. But if you land in mud, you can't run. That was like landing in mud. There were issues, security issues, economic issues, social issues, different kind of issues in the country then. He needed to settle down and isolate all those issues and sort things out before he asked people to come in and they would do the work together.
So at the time of this interview we are recording, if my calculation is right, you have a few more months. Is over.
Yes.
What would you say to the world that is the pivotal achievement of the president in his term in office?
Infrastructural development, very easy. Infrastructural development, roads, rails, bridges, and things like that. Roads, Lagos-Ibadan Expressway will be commissioned this year. Bodo Boni Road that had been on the blueprint for 42 years. It took a Buhari to start it and will likely finish it before he leaves. Then you have Enugu, Port Harcourt.
Very bad road it is.
Very bad road. He's fixing it, and that's how he's fixing roads around the country. Then you have bridges. Second Niger Bridge had been political. It's going to be commissioned before the end of this year. You have the local Oweto Bridge that links the North Central with other parts of the country. It's done. So you have airports, new airports in Lagos, in Kano, in Enugu, in Port Harcourt. We know how those airports were when he came. So infrastructure is the strength. There is the Abuja, Kaduna, Kano Road being built as we speak. There is the AKK pipelines from Ajaokuta to Kaduna, to Kano, to Kaduna, and to Abuja here. That will take gas around the country and for export. No, in terms of infrastructure, that will be the singular most important thing Buhari has done for Nigeria. And of course, agriculture.
Okay, the agriculture, I know that.
Yes.
Agriculture,
yes.
like the rice.
Yes. Rice revolution. Imagine during COVID when the world was shut down. If we didn't have our own products in the country, how would we have survived?
I remember you donated some bag of rice to me.
I remember, yes. You needed to give people
every
yes.
Yes. Those
yes.
rice bags really helped me.
Yes. I remember.
I remember that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Feeding some hungry people. Now,
Thank you.
What is it in this administration you think people have not done?
Well, there is no single administration that does everything in any country in the world. Mention the country and tell me that this administration did everything. It will not be correct. It will not be correct. One thing I would have loved us to do better is security. I hope in 10 months, 2 days that is left now, we can get it done. But I would have loved that Buhari cracks this security issue. He inherited it. When he came, security was bad. Remember that right on Inauguration Day, he had said that the command center of the insurgency war should move immediately to Northeast. Yeah, and he did. And you see that in the first 1 year, they gave bloody nose to the insurgents, and the thing was almost settled. Suddenly it resurged. Not only did insurgency resurge, banditry joined it, kidnapping joined it, all sorts of criminalities joined it. So you now had challenges from too many fronts, and the administration is still coping with it today. I just hope and I pray that before it leaves May 2023, it can crack this problem. It's a serious one for the country.
No, next chapter, you're so busy. I told you, I find I nicknamed you Agile Travel. Because people are always traveling, of course, for the benefit of the nation and so on.
Yes.
How do you find time to keep yourself healthy to be able to do this hectic job?
I remember there was a time we traveled so much. I woke up one day, I was asking myself, where are you? Where?
So many countries.
Yes. I woke up. I didn't know where I was. I said, in which country did I wait?
Like a time-space machine.
Yes, we have traveled a lot, but it's all for the benefit of the country. People think that it's all about enjoyment, but the president is 80 in December. An 80-year-old man flying around the world. Is it for fun again? No, it's just service to the country. I remember the year we went to Iran. I sat with him in his cubicle in the plane, and when the plane was about landing, it was night. He looked out through the window, and he told me that the first time he got to Iran was maybe around 1976, 1977, when he was oil minister. He said there were gas flares all over the place. They were flaring gas. He said, can I see now? That has stopped. They were already using the gas for productive purposes. They were no longer flaring it. That must have been around 2016, 2017. But he said his first trip to Iran was 1976. He had been widely traveled. He was oil minister. OPEC meetings were always being held around the world. So he was already a widely traveled person before he became president. So you won't say it was love for travel that made him to go all over the world as president. It was love for Nigeria and the urge to ensure that Nigeria got the best from the international community.
So how do you unwind?
I'm a football freak.
Physical exercise apart from watching football. Do you play football?
I play squash.
I know you play squash.
Yes, and I have a treadmill in the house that I also use for my exercise. I played schoolboy football.
Okay.
Schoolboy, I don't play it again.
Maybe I should arrange a tournament for you to play. Every week tournament, whenever you are in the country. So you travel around the world. You're so busy. You're here in the office. Many people come to see you, people seeking your attention. How do you find time to unwind yourself?
Yes, like I said earlier, I'm a football freak. All my weekends, as long as we're in the country, the president is not busy, you'll find me watching football. Particularly the EPL. Mm-hmm. When I settled down the first match from about 12:30, at times the last match ends at 10 p.m. I watch.
So that is your own time.
That is my...
At that time.
No, I leave it on. I leave it on. I leave it on. I still take my calls.
Okay.
But Saturday, and then on Sunday, after church, football starts at 2 and lasts till about 8 p.m. That's why you always find me at home at weekends, because I'm watching football.
10 on 2 days.
Yes.
What would Chief Femi Adesina be doing after that?
Well, like they say, the future is in the hands of God. But I have a job waiting for me. I left as MD Editor-in-Chief of The Sun. When I was leaving, my publisher was gracious enough to tell me, you may get to government and you don't like it and you want to come back, or you may spend 8 years and you want to come back. You will come back as vice chairman of this company. And he wrote the letter and gave me.
So you already have a job waiting?
I have a job waiting for me. I have a job waiting for me. So it's a matter of deciding what to do next.
So many people are watching you globally that misunderstand you because of your job. What do you have to say to them?
They don't know, so I forgive them. They don't know. I remember that when I came to this assignment, my daughter, my second child, was in 3rd year at the university then. And that age is the social media age. So everything they write about, that they see. One day she called me and was crying, Daddy, but this is not you. But this is not you. But this is not you. So I said, okay, do you know it's not me? She said, yes, I know it's not you. I said, that is all right. That settles it.
Don't listen to
Exactly. That settles it. So, all the things they write on social media is because they don't know. They don't know. So I overlook it.
For somebody who has climbed up the ladder of the media profession, most of you did the job because of a passion, and you enjoy what you did. But do you think media journalism is like how you started?
Not exactly so. We will still have a remnant that still loves the profession like that, but the majority don't again. They just see the media as stepping stones to other things. And that makes the quality of journalists poorer than it used to be. In the era before us and in our own era, we just find people who wanted to just be journalists. We were committed to our profession. We didn't want something else. It was difficult pulling us out of it to do something else.
Whether
there was money or no money, we were just enjoying.
We
were just enjoying ourselves. So now today you find that they are chasing money, chasing gratification, even blackmailing. But there's a remnant that still loves the job and does it professionally and ethically.
If you had to come back again,
yes,
would you still be a journalist?
I will always love to, again and again and again. I would love to.
Thank you so much, Chief Femi Adesina, for sharing the pages of your life with us here on Pages TV. It's been a pleasure. So I hope 10 months, 2 days after you leave here, I'll probably have to talk to you again to see how you're faring.
It will be my pleasure. We will now turn the next pages.
What do you have to say to us, to the world about Pages?
I had always known you, and I know that you excel in things you do. So I believe that Pages TV will go places.
Thank you so much, Chief Adesina.
Thank you.
Essay to the President. I've been sharing the pages and chapters of Chief Femi Adesina's life. He shared the pages of his life with us. So for our global audience, I'm sure you've been able to get some clarification with this interview. Some people have misconception about what he does, or because he has to speak for the president and the nation. But this interview would make you change your mind. Thank you for being part of Pages TV. Smash the subscribe button and the like button after watching this interview. I'm Lavonne Cele Tawo. Thank you.